Good afternoon, everyone. I'm your NMH at 1 host, Priska Agnolo, and welcome to today's broadcast. Let's get the show on the road. First up in today's headlines. Traditional authorities, along with the newly elected Epupa constituency councillor in the Kunene region, Mutambo Kuoko, have vowed to set aside their political differences for the betterment and development of the constituency. The Epupa constituency, termed as one of the most impoverished within the Kunene region, has also been hit hard by drought that has almost wiped out more than half of its livestock, coupled with stock theft, hunger, and the poor quality of health services, all of which are retarding progress of the constituency. Senior councillor of the Otjiwarongo Traditional Authority, Matthews Ruhozo, has said. The Okakarara Town Council recorded a loss of 3.6 million Namibian dollars since government's directive last year that all taps be opened as part of its response to help alleviate the risk related to COVID-19. The Town Council's Chief Executive, Ernest Kachiku, said the directive severely impacted local authorities, which are now drowning in debt, mainly due to unpaid water bills. Kachiku said on average, the Okakarara Town Council lost around 24,000 cubic meters of water per month, translating into 3.6 million Namibian dollars over the past 10 months since the introduction of the directive. The Town Council also erected taps for more than 90 households in addition to 4 public taps. Popular Democratic Movement Secretary General Manuel Ngaringombe said his party is concerned about the economic impact of the strike by ShopRite employees and called on the involved parties to reach a mutually beneficial agreement. He said this in response to the countrywide strike by employees of ShopRite, Checkers and USAVE since the 23rd of December for better working conditions and salaries. Ngaringombe said the PDM is concerned about the impact of the strike on Namibia's economy, as there had already been difficulties over the past few years, which were exacerbated by the COVID-19 pandemic. Sticking with COVID-19 news, the Ministry of Health and Social Services said that the negative coronavirus results from the Namibia Institute of Pathology will in future be communicated to clients via SMS on their mobile phones. In statistic news, Health Minister Kalumbi Shangula yesterday announced that Namibia recorded 242 new cases, along with 3 deaths that involve a 30-year-old woman from Inanna, a 31-year-old man, a 31-year-old Oshikuku man, and a man aged 43 from Oshakati. 60 of the new cases are from the Commerce region, 58 from Oshana, 33 from Karas, and 27 from Erongo. Kavango East and Omaheke each reported 14 cases, Osholanjupa 13, Ohangwena 6, Oshikoto and Zambezi 5 each, Hardap and Omusati 3 each, and the Kunene region 1 case. Of the 12 cases reported from the Lüderitz district, 8 are from Oraniamund, while 4 are from Roshpina. Among the confirmed cases are 15 healthcare workers from various districts and 16 inmates from the Oshakati holding cells. Shangula also reported 365 new recoveries. The total number of active cases stood at 2,836 on Tuesday, of which 267 were hospitalized. 27 of the hospitalized cases were in intensive care units. Moving on to contributions from our correspondents. An amount of 4 million Namibian dollars has been allocated by the Otjiwarongo municipality towards the upgrading of road infrastructure in the town. The project is intended to incorporate street alignment as well as rehabilitation of some roads in the town. Here is how the first phase of the upgrades is progressing. Esther Kamati sent us this video clip. Claudia Reiter was traveling in the northern Naukluft area last weekend, which has until now only received 18 millimeters this rainy season and in the last 3 years. Here's a short impression of what it looks like at the moment. In our final contribution this afternoon, the Quinton Steel Boats Training Camp, which has been in existence since 1993, held its first training camp for athletes at the Windhoek Afrikaans Private School's Office Park at Wanderers in the capital recently. Some 20 coaches were in action during the training week, 15 from Namibia and 5 from South Africa. Enzo Amwele contributed this clip.
Kijk. 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 Weg. Krijg hier. Op. Geef ik die spatie.
Lig je voet, nee?
Hier is ons 4 coaches by hierdie area, nee. Gaan nou vir sê.
Baie mooi.
Yes. Okay. Okay. We use that now. Stop. 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 Ja. Loop er gelijk. Maar. Ja, was tak. Yes. Boy.
And now we move on to today's headlines. On the front page of today's Republican, the oil and gas company Recon Africa must submit its application for an environmental clearance certificate to the Ministry of Environment, Forestry and Tourism by Friday, the 5th of February. An environmental impact assessment as well as a management plan must accompany this application. In the meantime, Recon Africa's drilling rig, with which it will drill its first test hole about 50 kilometers southeast of Rundu, arrived at Walvis Bay by ship in December. The prospecting will show if there is any oil in this area. The Canadian rookie in the oil and gas industry maintains in submissions to prospective investors that it has discovered a massive petroleum source in the Kavango Basin. However, the process remains controversial. Also on page 1 of Republican, the national education curriculum has been rationalized to 70% and a recovery period has been built in, which kicks off this month with the opening of schools for 2021. This includes a school readiness program of 4 to 8 weeks for the junior primary phase, as well as a catch-up program in the secondary phase. Taking a lead on today's Namibian Sun, SWAPO Party Youth League Secretary Ephraim Nekongo said he did not know that 65,000 Namibian dollars allegedly deposited into his personal account in 2017 through de Klerk, Horn and Coetzee Incorporated, a defunct law firm accused of disbursing 75 million Namibian dollars allegedly laundered from Fishcore, was linked to what is now called the Fishrod bribery scandal. Speaking on Namibian Sun's Evening Review show last night, Nekongo said he did not know anything about Fishrod until the scandal was laid bare in the press in late 2019. Furthermore, the Sun reports that the Ministry of Education says that around 15,350 learners did not return to school or participate in online assessments last year. According to Sanet Steenkamp, the Executive Director of Education, at least 14,300 learners studied from home last year, while the remaining 15,350 never returned to school and are said to be lost in the system. It's all things water on the front page of the Allgemeine Zeitung today, with Irvin Lauschner reporting that history was made yesterday shortly before 11 a.m. when water began overflowing from the new Naukluft Dam for the first time. The hope is that government will soon begin developing plantations that promotes arable farming. According to the opposition PDM party, the confluence of the Naukluft Dam is a glimmer of hope for all residents in southern Namibia and the country as a whole, to ensure food security, reduce poverty, and provide a livelihood for the growing rural population. And now we move on to the inside of NMH's dailies. A similar story on Nick Artel's glorious first overflow is carried inside Republican, along with the meteorologist saying that heavy rains are still possible in the second half of February and March. The Naukluft Dam sluices were also opened yesterday at around 11 a.m. in a bid to bring down the water level from 106% to 98%. Pauline Mufeti, head of hydrology at the Hydrological Service, warned that the levels of the Orange River as well as the Fish River are also expected to rise due to heavy rain and the consequent discharge of water through dams along these rivers. From inside the Namibian Sun, unemployed teachers will embark on a national demonstration on Thursday to protest against the Education Ministry's recruitment procedures. The United Unemployed Teachers Movement will be joined by the Teachers Union of Namibia and the Student Union of Namibia. Francina Shikomba, a representative of the movement's organizing committee, said there are 1,980 unemployed teachers in Nkomas, Oshikoto, Omusati, and Oshotonjupa. Data still has to be received from Kavango, Irongo, and Zambezi. The AZ reports that most schools in the Irongo region are ready to resume face-to-face classes later this month or early in February. According to the Regional Director of Education, Emfrieda Stefanus, teaching will be made possible through a new system, with different classes working in isolation to reduce the risk of COVID infection amongst students. She said that parents can also allow their children to study from home, although a number of guidelines have to be adhered to in this case. She added that the details about the school reopening are constantly evolving and that they are working on plans every day. Inside all NMH publications today, MarketWatch reports that Trustco Holdings Limited is scrambling to finalize and submit its financials as a Johannesburg Stock Exchange deadline, less than 2 weeks away, looms. The JSE said earlier this month that the financial services company did not submit financials within the 3-month period as obliged in the listing's requirements. The JSE gave Trustco until January 29 to submit its provisional financials or face suspension from the bourse. Trustco's spokesperson Neville Besson this week told MarketWatch that the company is on course to meet the deadline. In our final contribution for the day, Otis Fink of our Erongo office was in Walvis Bay yesterday, where Erongo Governor Neville Andre addressed residents who lost their homes in last year's devastating fire at Twaloloka. He shared the news that they would soon have a house to call their own. We apologize for the sound quality in some parts of the contribution, although it probably wouldn't be Walvis Bay without the wind. Do enjoy.
To see that the leadership of Walvis Bay is really committed in terms of the issues of housing and addressing to the public, especially for the Otjiwarongo community. Today we had a meeting with the chief of Otjiwarongo. We informed them that we're coming this side, and they must also just inform you what we are going to inform to yourself. First is that when we announced sometimes last year about the construction of houses, we had given an indication that by now, by today, people should have been in houses. But of course, our plans did not materialize in time as we planned, but it was delayed. That's why we are still not in houses. As you know, we have the space or the area which has been prepared. Now what is happening there is the servicing are being constructed into in all the events that we are putting in there. We are preparing 121 events on that plot. What we are preparing there is that every house or every area will have water, sewage and electricity on that plot.
Governor Neville Andre said that they would employ a model in which they will see beneficiaries playing an active part in the construction process as labourers. They will dig trenches and do the actual construction process, he said. He added this model was borrowed from the Shack Dwellers Federation that constructed 17 houses in 2 weeks in that area. Andre said that the 121 houses will be constructed in the quickest possible time. We quote, "The SCFN has a proven track record, having built 70 houses in 3 weeks in the Kunene region. This process used by the SDFN is faster, cheaper, and houses are constructed according to municipal standards. We want houses to be completed within the next 2 months." He said that experienced members of the SDFN will assist recipients with the construction process, with 6 members assigned to help each family with the construction of their home. Speaking on the way forward, the governor instructed residents of Otjiwarongo to take the certificates that were issued for Irvin last year to the municipality so that the registration for water meter connections can be done. Take the certificate to the customer care center so that the number on it can be taken, he said. He added that a fee of $4,000 would be required for this process, but that the municipality has agreed that this amount can be paid over 12 months or once off. He said that the next 2 weeks will be used for registering water meters. The construction process would then commence and would be executed in different phases. The governor emphasized that home recipients would be responsible for the payment of rates and taxes after the construction process is completed.
Omea ya egumbataka kare nomea odino rusheno ya no drainage ninga tuchuju condition tani tumanga suma gumba ngaga tumbampe masoko kutamene ko municipality.
Folks, I've been your host Priska Agnolo, live for NMH at 1. Please do stay tuned for the weather, and I look forward to welcoming you to our show again tomorrow, same time, same place.